Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Life only seems to be getting more and more expensive in 2025, so I thought it was time to revisit an old favourite with a list of 10 watches that make you look like you spent a lot of money when in actual fact you've only spent a little bit of money. Prices today from $50 to $500, and all 10 watches punch well above their weight. Plus, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to recommend a couple of used pieces as well. I'll leave links to all 10 watches in the order that I show them in the description of the video. Use those links as your starting point, but of course, find the best deals you possibly can. Let's get on with it. And let's start with an old channel favourite, the watch on my wrist today, and a watch that is almost universally accepted as being a contemporary affordable classic, the Tissot PRX. But I'm going to be more specific than usual today. If you want to go full baller, you need the Gold PRX. Now, Tissot offers these in two different sizes. They do a 40mm and a 35mm, and with two different movements. Either their Powermatic 80 mechanical or a much cheaper quartz option. You can pick up a quartz three-hander for well under $300, sometimes under $250. Look, gold tone watches definitely, I think anyway, suit some skin tones more than others. They look a bit flashy, they definitely add a bit of bling, but they definitely don't look like they're made of solid gold, and if you abuse them, you will scratch off the gold coating from the top. So do bear that in mind. But talk about wrist presents for under $300. Come on, just look at this thing. As always, do your due diligence on the seller. If you are buying on eBay, you're really looking for a 98+% feedback rating and a good number of sales. But if you're looking for the ultimate baller watch on a budget, there's a strong argument that this is it. Okay, so gold, Swiss, pretty obvious. Let's go in a different direction with watch number 2. I think the slightly more humble Seagull 1963 can look really good while still only costing around $100 US. Apart from anything else, the Seagull features a mechanical column wheel chronograph movement, which is just unheard of elsewhere at this price point. It has obvious retro vibes, especially if you opt for the acrylic crystal version. The blue hands, the gold numerals, and the red accents all come together very nicely to elevate the dial, and everything is contained within a simple, high-polished case. Now, these are obviously brand new watches, but they look vintage, and vintage almost always looks a little bit expensive. It has that extra little bit of mystique about it, put it that way. Negatives with this one are, well, the movement is ancient and it therefore has a much higher failure rate than a more modern mechanical, but the Seagull is a watch that will impress people who don't know what it is and impress people who do know what it is. Alright, talking of vintage, I did say I was going to throw in a couple of used pieces today, and they are vintage used pieces. They're not going to be for everyone due to their smaller size, but there are plenty of great looking Tag Heuers on eBay for under $500 US. Tag has huge brand recognition and huge desirability within the watch world therefore, but you don't have to spend a huge amount of money to get one on your wrist. These are all listings on ebay.com, not auctions. They're all buy it now, many of them from sellers in Japan. Again, check seller feedback. Don't be the person that gets stung buying from a scammer. And also check the sizes. A lot of these are 34 to 37 mil, so perhaps more suitable for the smaller wristed. I don't recommend a lot of vintage normally because it can be a bit of a minefield, but the good thing about these is they're all quartz and therefore far less likely to explode shortly after you take receipt of them. So again, here you have a big Swiss brand name and vintage vibes, all for less than $500. Next up, it's a Casio that gives Rolex vibes but costs well under $100. When Rolex launched the Tiffany dialed OP a couple of years ago, things went crazy. They were selling for 4 and 5 times the sticker price. Similarly, these Casios were so hot when they first came out that they were impossible to buy and also selling above retail. Utter madness. The price has settled down a bit now. You can pick one of these up all day long for under $100. The Tiffany's obviously the one people wanted a couple of years ago, but there are a bunch of different colours as well. I will admit, This one does not feel like an expensive watch, but it does have the looks of a Rolex without being a one-for-one copy of a Rolex. So then from Casio to Seiko, if you want to spend 300-ish on a Seiko but look like you've spent a couple of grand, buy a Cocktail Time. Seiko does dials better than just about anyone else, and the dials on their Cocktail Time ranges are amongst the best in the business at the affordable end of the market. I'm a big fan of the Irish coffee personally. I think it's a kind of classy, understated and rich looking watch. But I also highly rate the Negroni. It comes from a series that all have these stunning dials but in slightly different colours. Now the movement in them is all pretty basic, and that is mineral crystal rather than sapphire, so you are going to have to take care of it. But like I said, for $300-ish, they look classy and they look expensive, which is the point of the exercise today after all. Okay, number 6 is a long-term play. Have a look at these, and if you like them, start preparing to try and buy one. It's the Smith's Everest range. So Smiths are owned and operated by a somewhat idiosyncratic individual in the UK who makes watches when he feels like it and runs tiny pre-order windows, and don't expect much chit-chat by email from him either. But if you can get one, these watches are wee crackers, and they have a fantastic backstory that puts them right up there with the Rolex Explorer. Literally up there on the summit of Everest in 1953. Rolex may have got the headlines as the official watch supplier to Edmund Hillary's mission to the peak, but there is some confusion as to what watch he was actually wearing at the time, as alluded to in this Smith's advert from the 1950s. Anyway, fast forward 70 odd years and the Smith's name is now owned by a chap called Eddie in the UK, and you can buy these cracking little Explorer style watches for just about $500 US. So once again, looks expensive, non-homage, great backstory, hard to get, affordable price tag, but mostly sold out, so yeah, you're gonna have to wait for the next pre-order window if you fancy one. Should I do it? I don't know. Oh, go on, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? Next up, at number 7, is a watch that I have studiously ignored over the last few years, but it kind of fits the bill today perfectly. It's the Moon Swatch, of course. The world went crazy for these things back at the beginning of 2022, at least in part because it has the looks of a $10,000 Omega Speedmaster, and it has the word Omega printed on the dial, but it only costs $270. Apparently the Swatch Group has now sold 1 million of these and counting. I was in Europe in 2024 and I spotted what felt like thousands of them out and about on people's wrists. Again, like the Casio from earlier on, it doesn't feel like a luxury watch. It's super light and essentially it's made of plastic, but hey, it's got the word Omega on the dial, and for a lot of people, that'll be enough. But hang on a minute, you do know that you can buy an actual Omega for under $500 US, don't you? Again, just like the Tag from earlier, get on eBay, start doing your research, start doing your own digging, make sure you know what you're buying. But there are hundreds of used Omegas on eBay, mostly from the 70s and the 1980s, that you can pick up for not an awful lot of money more than one of those Moon Swatches. Also, like the Tag though, many of them will be small and most of them will be quartz, so you have to be alright with both of those things. But if you are, eBay is a happy hunting ground full of charming and characterful little watches. Like the MoonSwatch, they will be light and easy to wear, but unlike the MoonSwatch, they won't be made out of plastic. Okay, bit of a quickie at number 9, it's a Tank watch by Seiko. Now when I say Tank watch, I mean specifically it has this classic rectangular case shape. The watch is narrow, but it has broad lugs, it has a cabochon crown, a white dial, Roman numerals, you can get it in stainless steel or gold tone stainless steel. It therefore looks for all the world like a Cartier, but it's not, it's a Seiko, and it can be yours on Joma Shop for well under $150. This has to be one of the most understated yet classy watch styles in my opinion. I personally do not own a Tank watch because I'm neither classy nor understated. But if you are and you want to get one on a budget, this is low-key cool and very affordable. And finally at number 10, what about a brand new Swiss-made two-tone automatic watch on a bracelet for under $400 US? No problem. have a look at Mido. Specifically, have a look at Mido on Ashford.com. I have bought several big brand bargains from Ashford already this year, and I might just end up picking up one of these for myself. They have so many of these Bellunas and Commanders for under $400, some of them under $300. They're full-size watches at 40mm, they've got sapphire crystal, enough water resistance to get you through the day, and they feature the Swatch Group's awesome Powermatic 80 movement with 80-hour power reserve. Mido are one of the lesser known and lesser loved Swiss entry-level brands, but for well within budget today you can have another high-quality Swiss-made watch that looks good and you can be proud of. So there you have it. If money is too tight to mention, you can still find a cracking watch that will convince everyone you're dining on caviar every night rather than on instant noodles. Well done for making it all the way to the end of the video. While you're here, why not check out a couple of very modest price-based roundups, $50 or $100. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you over there.